Okay, we got 5 minutes until the challenge starts, but I've got some stuff to talk about. Since last week, Ultimate Masters has made it online, and that means that foil is now a common, and that completely changes the metagame of Pauper. Foil is a broken card. If you're doing something broken, having a free counterspell makes your deck even more broken. So, the two big decks that gain from gain a benefit from foil are Kiln Fiend and Familiars. Familiars we're going to completely discount because basically only 2 people can play Familiars without timing out. So, and I'm one of them, and I'm not playing it, so we don't have to worry about that unless we run into 420 Dragon. The other one is Kiln Fiend, which was already one of the worst matchups for this deck, and now is basically completely unwinnable. Their nut draw, you can't beat. There's nothing you can do to beat them, and I'm not going to even try. So we've gone down to 1 Circle of Protection red. It makes our matchup against Burn even worse because we only have 1 circle, but whatever. Burn and Kiln Fiend, I'm completely writing off. If we get matched up against them, we're just going to take the loss. Instead, we have another Circle of Protection blue, because Delver decks, they can play a foil, but they really only can afford to play 1, maybe 2 of them, and they're already tight for space. So if we run against a Delver deck and they've got foil, whatever. The reason that Kiln Fiend can run a foil is they don't care about the long game. If they're hitting you, you're probably dead. So if they discard 3 cards and they get through their hit, you're going to die. And there's nothing you can do about it. Familiars can just draw a whole ton of cards, and if they discard 3 cards to counter your spell, next turn they're going to probably discard a hand size anyway, so whatever. Anyway, I don't have a good list for Kiln Fiend, I don't have a good list for Familiars, or at least not one that I trust to bring through a challenge. So we're going to stick with Stonehorn Tron. Next week we're probably going to be Familiars, maybe Kiln Fiend if I want to deal with that, but I don't want to play Kiln Fiend because it's a lot of hoping for a very good hand or hoping to top deck the perfect card at the right time. That sounds really boring, and also I'm not nearly lucky enough as some people who play Kiln Fiend, so we'll just figure it out. I think Kiln Fiend is broken. I know Familiars is broken. I've played a lot of Familiars with foil. That card is very stupid in a deck that can just cast foil for 2 blue mana, an actual counterspell if they have 2 Familiars in play, and also plays bounce lands, ash barrens, 7 islands, and a whole bunch of card draw to fuel the foil. It's a broken deck. I just don't have a good list yet. So, we have, instead, Stonehorn Tron. Since last week, we've gone 1 more Moment's Peace in the main, move the arrows to the board, and we swapped out that Circle Protection red for a Circle Protection blue. There's a chance I want all 4 Circle of Protections blue, and then just completely abandon Burn and Kiln Fiend, but having 1 cop red makes them side in Flaring Pain, and sometimes you just get a free win by just slamming it and getting lucky. So, having 1 card in the board that helps you just spike a matchup if you get lucky enough is pretty nice. Other than that, we've got our usual list, bunch of card draw, the bare minimum of win conditions, and then a whole bunch of stuff to stop your opponent from attacking ever. I do want a bounce land in this deck, though, and I'm not sure how to fit that in. If I trusted people to adapt to the metagame, every single Tribe player would move over to Kiln Fiend. There's no reason to play Tribe now. Foil is just too good in Kiln Fiend, and it already plays more threats than Tribe does, so I'd prefer to just be on Kiln Fiend than Tribe, but I'm pretty sure the Tribe players are just going to stick to their guns and stick with Tribe. Tribe can't run Foil because it needs all the cards in its hand to win the game, so if it discards 3 cards, it basically has to have a gush, maybe 2 gushes if it needs a protection spell to actually kill somebody, and that's a lot to ask for. Anyway, I would like a bounce land in this deck. I've noticed that I want another color mana. I want to have something to map for, but the only real things I could cut are some of my untapped color mana, which I don't want to do because I like having the ability to draw and tap colored mana. Some of the big gain lands, but I'm already down to 3 gain lands, and you really need at least 1 gain land to win a bunch of matchups just to get your life total up. Oh, and we're starting. And I want all these spell lands to make my maps not dead late game. And my match has started. So, that's my thoughts on the metagame. We're probably going to get owned by a lot of Kiln Fiend decks, but, you know, maybe people won't get on it soon enough. This hand's great, so we'll keep. We could miss our 3rd land drop. Pfft, whatever. Be Reborn. I could consider mulliganing this on the draw. But I'd probably keep it anyway. Turn 3 Oracle does a lot. We don't have an anti-combat card. We do only have 2 lands, so we are in the camp where we need to draw a bunch of stuff. But we've got 3 draw steps, including the Prism, to get a 3rd land, and then we have Oracle plus some more draw steps, plus Flicker on Prism and Oracle to try to find Tron and some way to lock your opponent down. And if we get a Stonehorn, we have the anti-combat lock established. So, yeah, this Condescend might do something. You never know. More than likely, that Condescend's not going to get cast until the turn I hold up Ghostly Flicker for my Oracle and Prism. And then if they cast something I need to counter, I'll Condescend it. And if not, I'll just Flicker, try to draw cards. But it really depends on what we're going to draw in the next few turns. Like, if we just hit a 2nd Tron land coming up, like if our first draw step is Mine, and we just play a Prism, we could draw Plant and then go completely off, or draw Map and get Tron for turn 4. Turn 4, Tron plus double colored mana is pretty good. Also, my opponent kept their hand and then went back AFK, apparently. So that's cool. There we go. Is my... What's going on over here? I have a little window. Oh, it's the chat window's broken. Alright, that makes more sense. Mono red aggro? Okay. This hit matchup's pretty good. This hand might be good enough against it, but I do need to draw an untapped land. I could have played Thornwood Falls, but I'd rather get lucky. Playing Thornwood Falls and then playing Oracle is just so bad if I draw any untapped land in the next 2 draw steps. So, and if I miss on lands in the next 2 draw steps, I can hold up Condescend for a lot of things, because they don't play that many lands. In fact, if my opponent doesn't play a 2nd land here, I could just hold up Condescend, but they did so. Emissary? No emissaries. Valley Dasher, alright. We're taking 4 down to 16, but we get to land Oracle and try to find some stuff. It's a bummer that I found a 2nd Grotto effect, but not a 2nd Tron land, but hopefully we'll find a Moment's Peace off of this Oracle and be able to delay the game long enough to establish a lock. 2nd Flicker's not very good either. But it could be. You never know. Basically, next turn, if my opponent goes Mountain, another 2/2, and then a Bushwhacker, we could be in deep trouble. But hopefully they won't be. Also, my opponent is playing insanely slow. I'm going to take Capsize. Just bouncing a creature is fine. We're going to have the colored mana to do that. And I really don't want to take a 3rd Grotto. I would not like to pay red. Well, I would like to pay red, but unfortunately I'm tapped out. Cool. Alright. We're at 12. Oh. Oh. Taking the untapped land would have worked out pretty good, but instead we're just going to counter a Bushwhacker and hopefully only take 5 down to 8. Countering anything they cast, so I'm gonna go ahead and pay the full in case they have a Simian Spirit Guide or something. No real reason to hold up mana. I'm gonna bottom the aisle. Again, there's just so many better lands I can draw. And if I draw Moment's Peace, I think I'd rather have Moment's Peace than the tapped land, cycle land. I'd also rather have a second Dignitary than tapped cycle land. I'd rather have Pulse of Marasa than a tapped cycle land. I don't know. There's just a huge amount of things that I'd rather have. I'm going to hopefully not take any more damage than this, but my opponent goes Mountain, another creature, I go to 7, which actually isn't that much different than 8. I die to Bolt plus Fire Blast, rather than double Fire Blast as I do now. What's my opponent? My opponent's just like triple queuing or something. Yeah, second Stonehorn, so much better than tap land. Obviously, I would have drawn it anyway, but the 5th land isn't that important because I get to go this turn Dignitary, next turn Dignitary. The turn after, flicker 2 Dignitaries, and it's going to be pretty difficult for me to die without getting burnt out. I'm just going to play more. Oh, okay, 5. I guess I die to double Bolt now. It actually changes things, doesn't it? I'm going to flicker my Prism and my Dignitary. I've got combat locked down forever. Now we can just afford to try to draw into a land. My opponent Fire Blasts here. That is pretty greedy because they need to top deck a land to be able to kill me. Like, they have to top deck a land and then play a 1-drop. And if they had a 1-drop, why would they not just play? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Also, if I draw a land off of this Prism and they Fire Blast my Dignitary, it basically completely screws them because then I can just play the Moment's Peace. There we go. Not the land I wanted, but, you know, could be worse. Alright, what you got, opponent? They just got 2 more bolts. Alright, whatever. No real way around that, was there? Because I gotta drop the pulse eventually. Alright. My opponent drew exactly enough burn. Gutshot's actually fine in very limited situations. Not the situations you want to find yourself in, though. Moment's Peace for sure. Quicksand's fine. Basically, if you stop their first creature, you're in insanely good shape. And if their first creature is Foundry Street Denizen and you just Gutshot it, yeah, you take 2, but their offense is blunted severely. Unfortunately, a lot of their things just have 2 toughness, so not gonna. It basically only hits Foundry Street Denizen and Bushwhacker. And if they cast a Bushwhacker with Kicker, you really don't want to waste a card and 2 life to save. You basically take the same damage and just kill the creature, but the creature doesn't matter. Anyway, Condescend's fine. I usually just cut some of the, like, dorky stuff. Fengraph can go. You don't need all the walls, and you don't need all the teachings, and you don't need all the flickers, so. Usually I'd be putting in a second Cop Red here, but I cut that. So, what are we going to put in? They're all just like marginal cards. Mnemonic Wall is expensive and dorky. Teachings is probably best here. If you got 6 mana, you can Teachings for Moment's Peace, and that's pretty nice. Alright, so what could I have done differently that game? I guess keep the second Grotto effect. Or the third Grotto effect. But I didn't know I was drawing Stonehorn, and I guess I wouldn't have drawn. Well. Whatever. Huh. Basically just thinking of how I could have avoided getting burnt out there. This hand's broken, right? I mean, this is the dream, right? I've just got a bunch of answers and 2 pieces of Tron and Prism. I don't even know if I would trade this Grotto for a plant, because having a second color mana is great, and I can just turn to a Hydroblast. And I think I will. Because that doesn't expose my Prism, and it just stops their offense. Jackal Familiar? that's the creature I want them to play. Ugh. Alright. If they're casting this, that means their hand's either insanely good or incredibly bad. Yes, I know I top decked Tron. I'm very lucky, but I'm just going to hold up Hydroblast in case their hand is really sick. I don't want them to flood the board. Next turn, I'll just hold up Prohibit. Turn 4, I can play Prism and then hold up Flicker. That changes things. No, I guess it doesn't change many things. I'm just going to Flicker. I'm just going to evoke Muldrifter and Flicker it, I think. I guess I don't have that kind of mana. Again, we're just going to Prohibit here. They have a Pyroblast? No. Jackal Familiar. Guess I just drew that one. Alright, let's see what we draw off Prism. Hopefully a Hydroblast. No. Alright, we're just gonna... I can burn the Flicker to just cycle, but I don't think I want to do that. Okay, if I survive this turn, we're in great shape. Heel Cutter plus... Actually, no, I don't care about that. Okay. They have another Bushwhacker. I take 8. No, 7. Cool. Go to 11. That's a much more difficult life shuttle to burn down, but hopefully they don't top deck 3 burn spells and have one in hand. I'm going to start with Muldrifter. If I had drawn a Stonehorn, I would really have appreciated casting it. I'm going to go ahead and Flicker my Muldrifter and Prism. Cool. I don't want to get the Flicker countered or get my creature burnt out under it. Discarding a land. Now we can Moment's Peace. Hopefully my opponent has another Bushwhacker and not a Flaring Pain. Flaring Pain would be very unfortunate. I guess it's not that bad either. I go to 5 because I'm going to block a Bushwhacker. Yeah, okay. Did not have the Flaring Pain. And Flaring Pain does not work against Dignitary. Go ahead and Dignitary it up. I'm going to play a Grotto. I'm going to pass. I guess I can swing. I'm going to pass Teachings for something. I guess I'm going to Teachings for Pulse. That stops the worst case scenario. Hydroblast also does. Alright. We're going to pass and make my opponent commit to an attack before doing anything. Okay. If my opponent had double Fire Blast, I can Pulse, and then if they double Fire Blast me, a Hydroblast, go up to 10, and then go blocked and they don't die. So I don't think waiting on the Pulse was could have been a mistake, but... Alright, don't want these. Serrated Arrows is way too slow and dorky, so we don't need that. Horror doesn't do anything. Condescend on the draw is really only good if you can spike a turn 1 gain land, or I guess Remote Isle, and just counter whatever their turn 3 play is. Or if they play a heel cutter late, it's fine, but I could put Gutshot in over the Condescend. Put in a second Flicker. My opponent has Flaring Pain that's coming in, but they frequently don't have Flaring Pain, and, well, I'm not cutting Moments pieces, so. Something like that. Yep. Alright, this Gutshot could be in Mystical Teachings. I'm keeping. I know it's a one-lander, but I've got Hydroblast plus Circle. I'm not, and double Dignitary. If I draw a second land, this hand's great. And if I draw more than 2 lands, this hand is fantastic, so. I could just die. I could just die. Are they stuck on 1 land? Alright, we both kept 1-landers. They kept 1 on the play, though. Yes! Okay, if I top deck the plant and just have the actual nuts... Jesus. Alright, we're good. We're doing good. Everything's fine. I'm fine. Is everybody watching fine? I hope they're fine. Alright, I'm going to play a map and then pass. Holding up Hydroblast, if they have Smash the Smithereens, I can counter that. If they play a 2-drop, I can counter that. If they don't play a creature, I'm fine because they can't attack with anything other than just the Bushwhacker. So, I'm going to go ahead and kill the Cohort. I drew a Remote Isle. That's cool. Plant. Play Plant. Same situation, but now I have Tron. Plus more land drops to make. So I'm just going to hold up Hydroblast. If they play a creature, I can stop any damage. If they don't play a creature, I'm taking 1, going to 12. And from there, I can protect myself with Circle. End of turn, I'm going to cycle Remote Isle. If they bolt me, that's fine. Prism. I drew a land. I guess we'll just do a circle. I can stop both their creatures in play, and I can keep holding up Hydroblast. Alright. Let's see if they concede. And yes, I have a chat enabled. I can't ignore it, but I like playing Magic the Gathering against other human beings. And if my opponents get mean and salty and start being racist in chat, I guess I just have to hide it. But if they just say GG's, I'd like to hear it. If they want to talk about the game, I'd like to hear that as well. Curse of the Pierced Heart. What a weird card to have. You can't, like... This deck needs creatures. It has cards that do actually nothing if they don't have creatures to support them. You can't play that many non-creature spells. Anyway. We're going to play a Wall to get back a Hydroblast. It'd also be a blocker, so I don't have to spend mana on Circle activations if they don't have anything. Not that my mana's doing anything. Also, I have a Moment's Peace still in hand, but... if it's a second... Okay. If it was a second curse, I would let that resolve. Because I can just... Like, curse basically is just... I have to use Circle. Oops, I don't need to do that. Let's just do it this way. And then block Bushwhacker. I get to hold up Hydroblast that they know about. But even if they know about it, can't really do much to stop it. I'm going to go ahead and get a second colored mint. I'm actually going to get a gain land. so that when I draw a flicker, I can lock my opponent down. I suppose I'm just gonna Dignitary and pass. Yep. Them drawing the third land could have been bad if they had a stacked hand, but they didn't, so. Also, Pulse ends this game. Once I'm at 19, they can't even burn me out. Even with stacking burn spells plus Flaring Pain. Sure. Sure. I don't think playing Valley Dashers is great here, but because I'm going to start eating them once my Stonehorns wear off. But either way, let's cycle this. I could just play it to have more colored mana and more activations of Circle, but I have plenty of lands already. I'm going to play another creature. I've got 2 counter spells up. That should be fine, plus the Circle. Especially at 19 life. Like, I have to counter Smash the Smithereens is... That's about it. Okay. Okay. And we'll pass. I've got 1 Teachings and 1 Flicker, right? So, it might be slow going, but I don't think my opponent can win from here. Especially since I'm going to start eating eating at least 1 creature a turn. I'm going to block. They can burn my creature down, and that's fine. Whatever. If they want to expend burn spells to start shooting creatures down, that's fine by me. I just want to reduce the impact that a Flaring Pain will have, because I really don't want to be forced to commit to a double counter on a Flaring Pain and its flashback. Of course, I'm also starting to draw more and more creatures, and at this point, I only need the Circle to stop burn spells. Yeah, okay. Because now I can just start eating all of their creatures if they swing. This is why I don't need all of this late game stuff. Even if I run out of anti-combat stuff, my creatures are anti-combat. Their creatures are pretty small and scrawny. If I just flood the board with creatures and use Moment's Pieces and Stonehorns to survive the early turns, eventually all of their creatures are negated, and all of their creatures that they draw are dead draws, along with the extra lands. So they're basically hoping to draw sideboard cards and burn spells to try to finish the match out. 69 players, very nice. Unfortunately, it's not very nice for us, because that's 5 extra players from just doing a 6-round tournament. So 6 more rounds from here. Hopefully we can avoid getting nut drawn in the 3rd round like usual. And fortunately, Amoris has lost the 1st round, so we don't have to face a good blitz player in the next round. That's really what I'm worried about. I do not want to go against a good player with Kiln Fiend and Foil. That's my nightmare scenario. Mono red aggro. It's not very good, but the challenge environment, as we saw last week, is very hostile to burn. So if you're gonna play a red deck, you might as well just put a bunch of creatures in and hope to get lucky. Unfortunately, they ran against a very bad matchup. The deck that can gain a bunch of life and also stop combat forever. Anyway, hopefully we'll be good. Hopefully we'll top 8 this week. Hopefully we won't get owned too badly, and hopefully we'll take this one down.